Now we're to Nickelback, Thomas, and we started with Curb. Michael, do you want to go first? Because I just talked for a long time.
Uh, well, I'll hit the album, then you can hit the album, then I'll hit the album, then you can hit the album. How's that sound?
He
Okay.
literally means hit it.
Hit it. It is digital. I do not have anything. Have a physical, Thomas. I'm sorry.
But you
No.
would.
So yeah, I agreed to do this journey with Jared with Nickelback, and I always kind of had like in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, the hits aren't bad. People could brag on Nickelback, and how wrong I was about Nickelback. So my only notes for album one that I wrote down while I was at work was, oh dear, so many yes. My God, this is only the beginning. So that was that was album one of Nickelback, and it was just it was like you took all those bands that like Pearl Jam, Metallica, Tool, you just threw them in a blender, ground them up and chunked bits out of wall. And that's what this came out of. It's just like bits and pieces of other bands, but not strung together well. This album was, I was begging for it to end. Um,
Damn.
I didn't like any of this album, and there are so many yeahs. I was started to count, I lost count so fast because just yeah, yeah, just the whole time. I don't think there were really that many lyrics, and you can't understand him, which is a point we'll come to later in a couple albums. You can't understand him in this first album. What did you think of the first album, Jared?
Okay, so this was very interesting for me because I listened to them with like Silver Side Up. I came in that album, and then like when you go to the next one, All the Right Reasons. That's the Nickelback everyone knows. That's the whole like photograph. Look at this photograph. Um,
That's the
so
one that I made him listen to in my truck when we were 16. So
so of course I thought it started at Silver Side Up.
Mhm.
Um, so I thought all their stuff was gonna sound kind of like that super dude bro rock kind of stuff. So the first album is very just post grunge, very like Creed kind of feel to it. Um, it's not very, it doesn't stand out at all. It's very much a first album from a band because it's just like it's all one big song. Um, or at least there's big chunks. There was a song, I think it was the third song. It sounded like a Tony Hawk song at first. I was like, because it's a little faster pace. I was like, huh, how is this not a Tony Hawk? Um, but yeah, that was like I'm looking at my notes. That was the only kind of note I had other than this song was okay. This song wasn't that good. This song is okay. So that was my big standout note for that album.
Yeah, it's like you bring that back to my brain was like there's no real like that's one cardinal sin I don't like in music was when it sounds like the song starts midway through. Like when it
I
just
love
starts and you're
that.
going. I hate that
I
so
love
much.
that.
I need a
It's
good
great.
intro. Like Blindside has some amazing songs that do that. I'm like every time a song starts, I'm like, I know this gets good. I just gotta let it take me there. But so yeah, that whole album, it's like you're right. It's just like one big song. Like there's no breaks, there's no flow. It's just the same thing. It's just like that's just that
Yeah.
whole album,
yeah.
and it hurt me.
I
Then going to the
saw a YouTube video where they made a song out of different artists saying yeah, like a whole song of just yes.
interesting. Then we go to the second album. It's might surprise you guys because I said it's not terrible. I didn't think it was terrible. It had more distinct separations between songs. It wasn't just one flowing thing going the whole time. There were only a handful of yas, like three or four maybe.
But there
They're
still
like,
was
this time
some.
sprinkle them in. Don't just.
You still couldn't really understand what he was saying half the time because he's just growling the whole time.
Song enhancers, Jared. That's what they
Song
are.
sprinkle a song answer. So I wasn't waiting for this one to end. Listening to it, I was like, it has they have the their guitar's good, has some good riffs going, like just enjoyable little bobbing music going on, and it had some breaks. So I didn't feel like I was just swirling down a toilet of it. So this one wasn't that bad. But I couldn't give you any song off of it or any line or anything, but it wasn't. I didn't
Yeah.
hate it. except for yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree with Michael. This one's a little better, but it's still kind of forgettable. It's called The State. There is a song called Cowboy Hat, and we're gonna start to see patterns forming with Nickelback. This is one of them.
They're
They are
learning.
obsessed with like country and cowboys for some reason. They're Canadian. I don't
That
understand
makes
it.
I did not
sense.
know
They
that.
Um,
love cowboys up there.
so I was like, why is this forming? I don't want this. But yeah, I don't have much notes besides that. This one is still kind of very post grunge, but it is a little more tolerable without all the yes, I guess, like Michael was saying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It felt
Yeah.
a little more like you had some more going for it. Then we get into this Thomas's Truck album, and I
No,
was
no,
like,
no, no,
no,
no.
we're at
That's
Silver Side Up.
oh, which one's Thomas's Truck album?
all the
His
right.
is the all the right reasons.
Which
Yeah.
number is that? I just have my number one, two, three, four, five.
Five, I think.
Five.
Five. Oh, okay. So
Wow.
my comment, I forgot about it on there. But number three, this is where I said we would revisit the fact that we couldn't hear him or understand the first two albums, except for the Yaz. Like I couldn't really pull out many words that he was saying, and how I wish I couldn't going forward from here, because the first song on this album is horrible.
Yeah.
Like you start getting these lyrics, he's rhyming key with like P and stuff, like I don't know, like it's this that's one thing, like that's another stickler for me is lyrics have to be at least semi effort put into it, and these are freaking ridiculous. This first song, I was like, dear God, I could not believe how stupid this song is, and they bounce back and forth so much. There's an album later on where it's like he's talking about a girl. Oh God, we'll get to it because I think yeah, I have it in my note down there.
It
I have
doesn't
my note
narrow it
down there.
down.
But it's frustrating. So this album, first song horrible. Second one was a classic song that I recognized. Didn't remember what it was, but it wasn't bad. And the rest of the album was trash. Like all the lyrics horrible. Could not like. It was more distinguished, like song wise. Like they had a little bit. They had the breaks that they learned in album two, but dear God, go back to growling because the lyrics in this album were just horrible. I couldn't stand any of it. It made
You
me
could
so
finally
mad.
understand them, but you
This
didn't
this,
want
this
to.
yeah, I went back to begging for this album to end. I was counting down the songs until it ended. Could not stand it.
So yeah, this is the song with or album with How You Remind Me. So I was like, oh,
Yeah,
it's all gonna sound like this. It's
yeah,
gonna be a great album. It is surprising how bad this album
it's
is. It was such a
horrible.
Really?
step down. I was like, how did this one gem come out of this crap? I was like, oh my God. There is a song at the end, Good Times Gone. It was almost a country song. I was like, this is garbage. And there's a lot of cringy songs on this album. So I was so the first time I was
That's
like,
on
oh
the
yeah,
song?
huh?
Never mind.
Uh, the first song, Michael's right, garbage. And so I was like, oh, it's just getting started. And then you get How You Remind Me. So I was like, oh,
Really good.
here we
Really good
go.
stuff.
And then it just goes on, and you're like, how did this happen? So yeah, I was surprised how bad this album actually was.
Yeah, it was, and that's just moving on to the next one. This is where my only note is, man, I really wish I could not understand him. That is my only note because there's no saving grace song. There is no how you
You didn't
remind
like
me.
the long road?
Album four is horrible. It's
Oh,
just bad lyrics the entire time, and I don't know how this happened. How was this allowed to be popular? I don't understand. It's
Just get by everyone.
there were a few. I should have written. I should have kept a like running tally of what these rhymes were going through it because there are just some astounding ones in there. But yeah, album four, I have no other notes. Is horrible.
So yeah, I don't know if this one was as bad as the last one. I think I kind of like it a little bit more. There's not a very notable song off of this album, but it doesn't offend me as bad as the first album because like the first song or no, the second song is catchy to me. I'm like, oh, okay, that was pretty catchy. Um,
I like figured you out. I like that one.
there's one called Filling. What is that song called? Starts with Feeling, but it was so lame and dumb. I was surprised, like, cause we're starting to get real dude. This is the dude bro is little right now, and he's gonna grow. But this is like kind of starting it off. So there
What
is there's some cringe songs on here. What were you gonna say, Thomas?
one of these songs was featured on the Daredevil soundtrack with Evanescence.
I remember that.
I just on Figured You Out. Is that the song you said?
Uh-huh.
My only note for that song is, "Excuse me, sir. What did you say?"
Song, by the way, that was featured on that album.
But yeah, uh, they had a slow song on this album that I was like, "Do never do that again, Nickelback. You are not good at slow songs. You need to stop." There was one towards the end where I kind of like the attitude of the song because they have a lot of songs in their discography where it's like, "I'm cool." It's kind of like really bragging, but I don't know. I like the attitude of it. It's real like 80s hair metal. So I was like, I kind of like it. I shouldn't like it, but you got me, Nickelback. You got me. So I don't think I hated this album as much as the third.
I feel like the third just had that one classic song that rose it above for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, then going on to Thomas's Truck album, I guess now. Uh,
The gateway drug.
yeah, my first note was, what the hell is on Joey's head? Because I don't know what the heck that means and what he's talking about. Um, there's still really bad rhyming in this. I didn't care for this album. I will say Far Away is kind of a nice song. I like that was a slower one that I enjoyed. But then right after that was Next Contestant. And
Oh,
it's talking about him going fighting out people who are looking at his girl, and it's the stupidest song I've ever heard in my life. And then it flips right back to go into some emotional song right after that. And I was like, what are we doing here? It's just so out of the blue. There's no flow, no plan throughout the whole thing. It's just like, I'm gonna be real far away. We love each other forever. Oh, this girl looking at it. He's looking at her butt. I'm gonna beat him up. Like, what are you doing, you child? It's just a man with, I don't know. There's no plan. It doesn't feel like we're losing identity here, and they're like, I don't know where these
this
like,
is their identity, Michael. You don't understand.
but I don't understand like where do these
This is
songs?
where it solidified.
I will say also like Photograph. I didn't like that song.
No, that song's
Like back in the
garbage.
day, I was like, oh, it has a little like there's that's it. Look at this photograph. Every time I look, it makes me laugh. That is the stupidest rhyme I've ever heard in my life. That's like one of the good ones. The rest are
It's
anyway.
like something on
Um,
like Sesame Street or something like
yeah.
that.
Uh, so yeah, so I liked Far Away. I thought that was probably a good song. That's the highest song in my opinion, except for what was that other classic one we talked about? Probably Far
when
Away is
does
my other favorite one. But
when does Hero come around?
I don't
That's
know.
a
I
That
haven't hit that
single.
yet.
That's not
that's
even
a
an
that's a
No,
album.
Chad
It's
Kroger
not even
single.
on the album.
not even on an album. I don't even get
Oh,
to
it's not even
enjoy Hero
Nickelback.
No,
save
it's
it
It
a
is
for.
on
Nickelback
it's
with Seether song.
Oh,
It
it is
doesn't
on
get
a
to
live
save me.
album. So just
But
saying.
yet, and then I just said this was the most varied album. I felt like it went in the most places for me, rather than just either
did you like those
stupid lyrics.
places?
Just a couple of them. That's about it. Most of it was garbage and just stupid songs. I cannot believe how stupid these songs are. But yeah, so we're only
It's making Jared
halfway.
cry.
I
So
know.
no.
We're only
So
halfway.
um so this is a nostalgic album for me just because
It was a
of what
Thomas's
we
truck.
yeah. But
And
yeah,
no, no, no. You have to set the picture though. Here's Jared, and he's like, this is like primo emo phase Jared, like where like he had like black hair, and he's just like, yeah. And here's me in my little Chevy Silverado. You know, this is back when like Happy Thomas was Happy Thomas too, like basically like blast from the past Thomas. I'm like, hey Jared, you hear this band called Nickelback?
so I remember the night too. We were driving from somewhere And he's in his truck, dude. I just got this album. Me and my dad listened to. He's like Nickelback, and it's like playing on the radio, and he's just like looking at me. Isn't it good? And I'm just like, yeah, it's all right.
I was like, "You want to borrow it?" He's like, "No."
I'm good, man.
It's okay.
Okay, so all the right reasons is nostalgic. It has photograph, and all I put was I effing hate this song, this meme song.
Yeah, it's bad.
Um, Animals is so immature. I hate that song.
And
Which one's
yet,
that one? Remind me.
That's the one after photograph.
but the one they want to do it in their
Yeah.
car.
Yes, yes, that's the other like the lyrics are so stupid.
Saving Me, I actually really like that song. It was another single off this album. It's a little more serious than their other stuff in this album. Um,
I like the side of a bullet. That's actually a pretty good song for me.
Next
No.
contestant,
Oh no,
my only note for that is it's not
no.
it's I shouldn't like this, but I do. It was fine. It was catchy to me. Um, and then oh, I also forgot If Everyone Cared was on this album, which I like. It's another one of their more
Yeah.
serious
Yeah, that was a good one.
songs. I like that one a lot. But then we get to Someone That You're With, and my note is these guys are like 30 and they're writing this song about like teenage relationships, and like it is the most immature thing I've ever heard. It's the most immature writing I've ever heard. And I was just shocked that these 30-year-old men were writing this song.
They're the Taylor Swift of band, male rock
And it's like
band.
right
You're taking it
after
back, sir.
it's like right after the emotional good song and they go to stuff like that and I'm like, "What is happening? What who are you just taking turns writing? Like I don't understand."
But that is just like a message from the future because we are getting to
Oh gosh.
uncontrolled
No.
Nickelback next. We're getting to unheld back Nickelback, and and I
Uh,
can't wait for Michael to listen.
I'm not looking forward to this week.
Dude, I gotta cut out
Michael,
this.
I'll
I
put it this
listened to
way.
3 of those albums today.
I know. I was like, "How is what? Is he serious? He's not going to do that,
You
is
should
he?"
have
Did
spread
it.
it out.
I was very sad. I
Mi-
wasn't gonna listen to it while I'm not at work. You kidding me?
Michael, I'll put it this way. This came out when I turned 18 and I went through my very, very, very first breakup. This is like prime, like
You just made it
Thomas thought,
worse.
Thomas thought he was dark.
So in our chat, I was like, "Hey Thomas," I didn't want to spoil it for Michael, so I was like, "Thomas, I'm on this album," and he's like, "Describe it," and I was like, "It's like stripper music and Sonic music
Sonic.
combined," and he's like, "Oh, that one," without hesitation.
Like
And
immediately.
so I can't
Oh my
wait.
God.